Welcome back. This is part 2 of the pre-scene. So the first part of the pre-scene was where we spoke about the introduction for our company. We introduced the company to you. We spoke about the background of, first we rather spoke about your role of a finance officer. Then we spoke about the background of the company, how the company started, how the company is functioning. Then we learned about the ethos of the company, the ethics, the culture of the company. Then we learned about who started the company and Catherine Wheeler, who is running the company right now. We also learned about the details of the culture of the company, which means that we have been focusing on quality, which means that our grills are one which are being preferred in our country of Beeland. We are well established in the country of Beeland. Keeping all of that in mind and all the detailed analysis that I made in part 1, we'll start with part 2. I'll make certain, and I would like to make certain, that you are comfortable with the industry analysis, and then you are comfortable with part 1 of the pre-scene. Go through it again if you want. Be comfortable with that section. Make sure you can fathom everything that we explained in that section. And once you are okay with that part, you now begin with part 2. There's no point of starting with part 2 until and unless part 1 is something that you're comfortable with, something that you're ready to ready to replicate rather in your own words. Only then start with part 2. Now to part 2, where we'll continue from where we left off. We continue from the extract from the FireWorks website. Our products. That's the section that we are now speaking about. Now, FireWorks is a company that manufactures grills in our own production facility. We have our own production facility and we make in Beeland. That has to surely be one of the advantages of why you are so well recognized in your country. You are making in your country, you are selling in your country. It has to have a patriotic, it has a patriotic feel about it. Also, when you make in your country, you sell in your country, there are going to be government initiatives that you get all around the world. This is happening. You make local, you buy local. That's what people are preferring nowadays. And they tell you that you have your own production facility. While going through the pre-scene, as you can see, I'll always annote the important parts. I'll always state the important parts. I'll always speak about the important parts. Pay attention, please. Each grill starts with a cook box, which we create from high-grade stainless steel and coat in premium porcelain enamel to protect against rust and corrosion and to give our unique color and finish. It's very important to note that you use high-grade material, premium enameling, unique color. Again, true with the quality aspect about your company that we have been speaking about from the very, very beginning. So remember that you are not a company who is selling low quality products at a low price. You are a company who is selling premium products, differentiating, being different from your competitors. That's why your products are selling. To each cook box, we add components such as legs, bezels, which are metal rings, dials, and all important cooking grill plates. Each of our grills is fitted with the best components available and designed to provide the ultimate outdoor experience. That's what our vision is, right? Catherine has said that the vision of the company is to enhance the outdoor experience. That's the same thing that we are keeping in mind during the production phase as well. Again, best components, so quality aspect. Click on one of the buttons below to find out more about the range of gas, charcoal, electric grills, or our extensive range of grills and accessories. So this is a extract from the website. That's how they've put it, and that's how they're mentioning it over here. They say that we have 4 main product categories: the gas grills, charcoal grills, electric grills. We know that the latest innovation in 2018 was electric grills. Since 4 years, there has not been any groundbreaking product that our company has introduced, groundbreaking product that our company has put forward. So it may be time for innovation, because from our industry analysis, we've very clearly learnt that technological inclusion in your production, in your products, is very important to stay ahead in this market. So ask yourself the question, and it can be a very realistic exam scenario where they ask you about a new product that our company is now introducing. So last main innovation was in 2018, electric grills. And the 4th category is accessories. Now this extract gives us some important points to focus on. I already spoke about them. Own production facility, high grade raw material, best components. These points are our competitive advantage and the areas that make our brand unique. You must always stay true to the same. You can't suggest that let's make a product that is very cheap and does not have good quality, because at the end of the day, it's against the culture of your company. Your company doesn't do that. You need to protect the brand. The major aspect we market on is we make in Beeland. You make in your own country. When we make our production related decisions, it is always important that relevant costs be considered. If you come up with a new product, let's say you're coming up with a portable grill, for example, portable electric grill or a portable gas grill, for example, what will be the costs which are relevant for that new product? So the relevant costing decision making criteria is important. This is straight from your P1 syllabus. Also, rather than making all the components in-house, let's say you choose to buy one specific component and then make a buy versus making analysis. This is also part of your P1 syllabus, make or buy decision. So should we make a particular component? Should we buy the particular component? On the other hand, should we directly buy a ready-made product, change it to our own specifications, use some good quality finishing and then sell it? So make or buy decisions are often exam scenarios. This is straight from your P1 syllabus and the relevant costing remit. So please keep it in mind. Continuing, on the website itself, they have a section which speaks about customer warranty. FireWorks has an industry-leading parts and labor warranty on all grills. Again, something that you're competing on, something that you're proud of, something that we must keep in mind so that we can use when we go to our mock question writing. Now, when you go to mock question writing, you always want to remember the competencies of your company, what your company is good at, what are your differentiating factors, because then you can use those words in the answer that you write anywhere, anyhow, and it really adds business skill, it really adds integrative skill to your writing. So, industry leading parts and labor warranty. The grill cook box is guaranteed for 10 years. If anything happens within the 10 years, we will replace the grill free of charge. All other components of grills, including handles, legs, bezels, have a free of fault for 5 years guarantee. In the unlikely event of your grill developing a fault, we will replace or repair the part free of charge. At FireWorks, our grills are manufactured to such a high standard that you can offer this. Now remember, if there is any lapse in quality, if there is any lapse in the material, the supplier's material that you receive, it will eventually lead to a lapse in quality in the final product. And at the end of the day can really cost you because of these extra charges. So your material variances will be very important to study. because we want to make sure that the material variance is such where you never compromise on quality. Your input has to be good quality, only then the output will be good quality, and only then you will be able to make justification to this warranty, leading warranty that you're offering. So this extract gives us some important points to focus upon. Industry leading warranty on all our grills. Grill box guaranteed for 10 years, all other components 5 years. Quality is our key focus. These points are our competitive advantage and what makes my brand unique. Keep this in mind. Since quality is our focus and the market is price sensitive, in the first part they mentioned that more people are going for price sensitive options. Accurate costing, accurate budgeting will be very, very important, which straightforward brings in your P1 syllabus. Now also, let's think about what is adding value to my product. Now value is something which enhances the quality, enhances the perseverance, enhances the chance of a customer buying your product. This takes me to the Porter's value chain in the E1 syllabus. Now the value chain aspect must be considered here. Which part of the value chain does my business give importance to? It gives importance to quality, gives importance to inbound logistics, gives importance to after sales service. So all of these are major primary activities in the Porter's value chain, and I want you to keep noticing parts of the value chain throughout the pre-scene and make a note, as you can use this in your answer. While starting your answer, simply you can say that because we are fulfilling because we are offering a premium service, which is premium after sales service rather, which is a primary activity for the Porter's value chain, our business is one which differentiates from our competitors. For example, I'm saying, if you just start your answer this way or end your answer this way, the examiner knows that this student has studied the pre-scene. This student has E1 knowledge. It adds integrative marks to your answer. Keep this in mind. All of these discussions and all of this detail that we are going through is so that you can use this, understand our company better, and then use this when we go to mock question writing. This is very important. Now they are speaking about one by one our products. The first product that we offer is gas grills. So this is very simple. Fit your gas bottle and you are ready to grill with one of our gas fueled grills, which we offer with two models. There are two models here. One is the Firecracker and one is the Cracker Jack. The Firecracker is the premium gas grill, and in the Firecracker you have two options, small or large. Cracker Jack is basic, also small or large. So for gas grills we have four options. Firecracker, two options. Cracker Jack, two options. I'm telling you this because I'm going to point out an important aspect after we go through all the products. So in any companies or any product selling company like ours, where we manufacture and then we sell, the sales variances are quite important to understand, because you want to make sure that you sell a product which is more profitable first. You always want to try to sell a product that is most profitable for you, correct? If you don't understand the mix, if you don't understand the quantity variances, how will you create your marketing? How will you create your advertisements? It's not possible, right? You want to know which product is selling how much. So a study of the sales variances is very important, which is from your P1 syllabus, and this is a very important exam question. They can give you a bunch of variances and explain what these variances mean. So if you've revised them, studied them, you will be in a good place. Next, you have charcoal grills. So add your charcoal and you are ready to grill with one of the charcoal fueled grills. There are three options here. One is the Spinner, which is our premium charcoal grill model. One is the Rocket, which is our mid-range charcoal grill model. It's for mid-size. Spinner is for large size. Sparkler is the smallest charcoal grill and is made for small cooking spaces. Then you have your electric grills. The third option is electric grills. This is our newest innovation, newest launch. The newest grill to our range, launched in 2018, is the electric powered wheel grill. That's what we are calling it. It allows the grill to smoke, bake, or simply cook. You can use it. So the innovation was you can use it for smoking, for baking, and for simply cooking as well. A wheel grill is effectively an outdoor oven with the ability to lightly smoke your food with the use of flavored wood pellets. Now, from all of this that we have done so far, and in the manufacturing process that we are going to explain at a little bit of a later stage, above everything that we have gone through up until now, with the distinction in the products, you'll see there are different kinds of products. Each product is sophisticated. Each product is very well in its place. So the deployment of activity-based costing is one which could be on the cards because you have multiple products, and activity-based costing is used and is recommended for companies which have very many different products, very many different variants, and we are always going to keep adding new products because that's the way of the market. So one situation can be where a new product is introduced and they're asking you to evaluate the use of activity-based costing or the move to activity-based costing. So the concept of activity-based costing is very important to understand. Moving on, the beauty of the wheel is that once the temperature is set, the grill can be left to its own devices. Unlike a conventional gas or charcoal grill where somebody needs to stand over the grill. The wheel, like it's mentioned, is a premium electric grill model available as a small or large, again, two sizes. So is there an opportunity to introduce a new product? Like more models on the electric grill or a portable grill, which is also quite a lucrative model? Because as of now, only 3 major categories of products is what we are offering. We also sell accessories, as we know. So we offer a full range of outdoor grill accessories, including grilling tools, which is your sponges, tongs, and spatulas, turners, secondary grilling racks, cooking gloves, and aprons. We also offer a range of grill cookbooks. So cookbooks, which obviously Catherine Wheeler will have something to do with because she has been a chef. She has worked with many worldwide restaurants. And we also have our own range of charcoal. Now, important to understand that we are selling charcoal, which is something which is considered to be not sustainable. Just something to keep in mind because sustainability was a discussion throughout the industry analysis and in the first part of the pre-scene. But now, making a kind of a summary, we see that we are offering different kinds of products. 2 products in gas grills, 3 products in our charcoal, 3 models rather. 2 models in the gas grill, 3 models in the charcoal grill, and 1 model in the electric grill with different accessories in different sizes. This shows that our business has many different products, and when different products are being sold, activity-based costing is a system that is used. So as we move ahead in the pre-scene, we will be looking at the cost structures when we move to the latter part of the pre-scene and give a stronger opinion. This is part of our P1 syllabus. Coming to the directors now. The managing director is Catherine Wheeler, as we have spoken about. Catherine is the youngest child of the company's founders. Catherine trained as a chef working in a world-renowned restaurant. So again, you see where the cookbooks are coming from. The cookbooks could have come, which we are selling as accessories, from the thought process of Catherine Wheeler. Now, while going through the directors section, I want to point out 2 things. Firstly, a director is very important because the directors run the company. If if we understand the people who are running the company, we understand the company in a better way, because their thought process is what we can see in the running of the company. So firstly, with this director analysis, we'll understand what each director is good at, what each director wants to do for the business, what each director looks at in terms of responsibility. Secondly, one very important part which we like to do is we always ask our students to try to remember the director names and what they are good at. So let's say, for example, Catherine is obviously going to be good at how a grill is used because she is a chef. She wants to innovate, so her focus is on innovation as well. So when we go to mock question writing and when you go to the final exam, if we are speaking about innovation, you can use the name of Catherine Wheeler as just a suggestion. You can start your sentence or end your sentence by saying, let's take the opinion of Catherine on this because she has an innovative mindset. She is giving the company its future direction. Just by using a director name and using their competency in your answer, you're making your answer more business oriented. You're making your answer more integrative. That will really add value to your preparation. So the managing director is Catherine Wheeler. While going through the directors, we want to understand what each director is good at, what their remit is, and try to remember it so that we can use it when we go to mock question writing. So since joining the company in 2014, she has immersed herself in all aspects of the business. She is responsible for the company's future direction, the product development, and she is keen to innovate in order to consolidate its reputation for grills which produce delicious food. So she is the person who is giving the company direction, and as all family businesses go, she is looking at all parts of the business. As the business grows, you may need to look at delegating her responsibilities and expanding the board because she is running the business, she's giving it future direction, she's looking at product development, she's looking at growth, she's looking at innovation. So a lot on her hand which can be looked to be diversified as we expand the board, as we expand the business. As she will be innovating, the external market analysis experience will be important. Also, innovation brings risk. When you are innovating, it brings risk. You need to know the external market. So your pestle analysis or the Porter's 5 forces is important from your E1 syllabus. Secondly, when you innovate, it brings risk. All your risk models, uncertainty models from the P1 syllabus, which has to do with risk related decision making, payoff table, risk decision criterias, risk attitudes become very, very important. And you can use a name for consultation while writing any product development or growth related topics. She's always looking at product development and innovation, which is obviously a good sign for the business because we know without innovation, every business at some stage is going to slog off, is going to lag behind, which we don't want to happen to our company. Second director we're speaking about is Ben Bruce, who is the finance director. Now, Ben has worked for FireWorks for 12 years. He started as a finance officer and gained his CIMA qualification while working full-time with the company. The company supported him. Although Ben has limited experience in other companies, his innate business acumen and technical expertise meant that the board voted unanimously in favor of his promotion to finance director. So he has good business acumen, he's a qualified CIMA accountant, and he has technical expertise. So he is going to have full knowledge of the corporate governance structures, the costing structures, the code of ethics structures, the budgeting structures, because he has expertise and he has the business acumen. So anything relating to finance, obviously Ben is going to be the leader of in this organization. Next, we speak about production director, who is Mavis Jones. Now, Mavis is a qualified engineer, again qualified, who worked for two other metalwork companies before joining in 1994, working with FireWorks since a very long time, as you can see. Mavis has overseen the production of all models of outdoor grills during this time and has an encyclopedic knowledge of every aspect of production. So she's working for so long, she has prior business experience. So obviously she knows every single thing about the production process. Mavis also helped to establish the relationships that FireWorks enjoys with key suppliers in the production process. We already spoke about the importance of supply with respect of the material variances that I spoke about from the P1 syllabus. Variance is a very important topic. So she's well experienced to carry out the job. She previously worked with other metalwork companies, so knows the day-to-day of a job and has worked her way up. So she's bound to have good knowledge, which is very beneficial for us. Her encyclopedic knowledge in the process of production would mean she can be consulted on cost cutting assignments, where you can cut costs, where you can remove the bottlenecks straight from your P1 syllabus. The throughput accounting part is very important over here. She also has good relations with suppliers, and hence if we move towards a just-in-time system or a total quality management system, her involvement will become crucial. GIT and TQM is where you don't hold any inventory, so you need great relation with suppliers. That's what they've mentioned. This is from your E1 syllabus. So when discussions are being made about production, supplies, we can use her name and it would add great value to our answer. E1 syllabus and P1 syllabus aspects I have spoken about over here. Next, we have the sales and the marketing director, which is Sebastian Rofshaw. Seb was elected to the board shortly before Ben Bruce. He was employed as a sales manager by David Wheeler, with whom he worked closely for a decade. Seb attends numerous trade fairs and industry events and has extensive contacts with loyal customers. For us, this is very important because our loyal customers are the retailers. If the majority of our revenue is coming from retailers, if we don't have good relation with retailers, how is my business going to expand? So Seb believes that FireWorks is in a position to expand and increase its market share. If I want to increase my market share, automatically there will be different variances which need to be taken into account, because increase in market share means more production, material variance, labor variance, in idle time variance. Increase in market share means more sales, so sales variance. Variances are very important. So Seb has worked closely with the original founder and hence retains his confidence. This is very important, vital. He attends trade fairs and industry events to always be on the lookout for new innovations. His relationship with loyal customers is key for our business, as majority of our sales come through retail shops. His belief in the company being ready for expansion is a further sign of the business needing expansion. With expansion will again come variances, like I mentioned. This is from your P1 syllabus. Do not overlook it. Next, we have the Human Resources Director, who is Jane Bevan. Jane joined the company in 2016. She is responsible for ensuring that the human resource plan supports the company's long-term goals, which is quality, which is expansion. She recruits suitably qualified staff, oversees all induction programs, and has written the company's HR handbook and protocol. Jane works very closely with Ben and Mavis, obviously, because only then you can know the requirement for employees. Our employees required in production, our employees required in finance. Jane will be able to only be part of the process if she is well experienced and if she has good communication skills. which I'm sure she does. That is why she is our human resource director. Human resource is very, very important for any business. So HR cycle, having the right people in the right place from your E1 syllabus is very, very important. Next, we have distribution and logistics director, who is Jack Leons. Now, Jack has been in charge of distribution and logistics for over 15 years. During this time, the demands of customers have obviously changed, and Jack has been able to, mold the business in a way that we offer the customer that product that they want at the time that they want, and properly deal with the retailers that we deal with, because that's what distribution and logistics is all about. So Jack is responsible for warehouse operations and logistical administration. He also maintains the contracts with the many courier companies used by FireWorks. Now he is involved in two important functions of our company, which is distribution and logistics. A positive sign for the business is that he is well experienced and he's worked for the business for 15 years. Now a good sophisticated distribution and logistics system, or I will say an information system that is completely digitally controlled, could be one which FireWorks can look to invest in, because this kind of system will make the entire process easier, will make the entire process more informative, and your information systems is part of the E1 syllabus, and that is why I bring it up to you, which I feel can be beneficial to FireWorks in terms of streamlining the process, in terms of making it quicker, making it more efficient. So these are the directors of the company. What I have tried to do is make sure that we at least focus on the competencies of each director while relating to your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. Now to some management in key departments. They're just giving us some structures. First department we're speaking about is the finance department. Now for finance department, we have Ben Bruce, who is the director. We already know he's experienced. He has the business skill. Ben Bruce will be giving the strategic direction. He'll be the one who will make all the major decisions relating to the finance department. Under that, we have Savita Sharma, who is the finance manager, who you are reporting to as you are a finance officer. So majority of your dealing in exam questions as well is going to be through Savita, where Savita has to speak to somebody else. So you have to prepare a report, you have to prepare an explanation that will come up. So remember, Savita Sharma is going to be your point of contact in majority of the questions that we do. So Savita is responsible for most of the management and accounting information. There are 3 finance officers and 5 finance assistants. Now it is very evident by looking at this that there is a functional structure in place. It's a structure relating to functions, because Ben has everything to do with finance. Ben is looking after the finance department. Ben is looking after the finance side, under which there is Savita, and then there is the finance officers. Next, we have the production department. Production at the head is Mavis Jones. And if you look at the responsibility for Mavis, she has so much to do and so many people to be responsible of and give direction to. It's quite, surprising. Let me put it that way. But again, Mavis is very well experienced. She has the knowledge. She's been with the company for a long time. So she is the expert. So the head of pressing and welding reports to Mavis. Head of enameling, George, Mavis report. Head of assembly, head of packing, head of procurement, head of maintenance. Everything related to do with production, manufacturing is happening through Mavis, along with packing as well. So the largest in terms of employees, the production department is the most complex to manage. Despite many challenges, Mavis has led this department successfully. coordination between the sub departments is excellent, which is again because of the experience of Mavis. Over here, it is something where I want to discuss about the budgeting aspect. Now, if you look at budgeting for such a big organization, it can be an issue. And in subsections such as procurement, such as packing, such as maintenance, such as pressing and welding, a zero-based budget is something that is often used, is often recommended, because only then can you understand the costs from zero for that particular department, which you can make sense of. So budgeting and the types of budgeting are quite important from your P1 syllabus. I just felt it important to mention, and that is why I brought it up for you. Then there is the sales and marketing department. So Seb leads this market. He liaisons with the retailers, with the website, and with the agent sales as well. So if you see, he has everything to do with the sales, and it's natural because he's sales and marketing manager. So sales and marketing employees work closely. It's very important that they work closely. Although members of the sales department tend to instigate and manage the relationships with their own clients, any member can answer queries in another member's absence. So this is the presence of a communicative and a participative process over here from your E1 syllabus, which is very important for any business to do well. Everyone works well with Jack Leons and his department and are supplied with distribution updates twice daily. Dynamic and ambitious, Seb wants to expand market share more than any other director. Now, overall, the job of Ben Middleton will be key, as majority of the sales are through retailers. He handles that relationship. Zed runs the agent sales for third-party foreign sales. Choosing of these agents will be key, and whenever we are choosing any agent to run the foreign sales for us, a cost-benefit analysis will be key. A risk-related decision making will be key. So again, what is the risk-related decision criteria that we can take over here? Maybe we can look at the coefficient of variation. Maybe we can look at the decision tree to make any risk-related decisions. Maybe we can look at the regression analysis. This is part of your P1 syllabus and very important. That is why I have brought it up. Next, we have distribution and logistics, which is handled by Jack Leons. Head of warehouse reports to Jack, head of logistics, and head of website sales reports to Jack. Jack is responsible for the distribution center. His department consists of able people who support him with finished goods inventory management, distribution and logistics to retailers and third-party agents, as well as website distribution. Now, one very important thing to note over here is we do not have an IT department. We have website sales. Maybe we have outsourced the website management to somebody else because there is no in-house IT department, IT director who looks specifically at IT or website management. For a big company that is growing and is selling on their own website, we do not have a director or a manager to look after this. What if tomorrow I want to expand to app management, to create a mobile phone application? If I don't have an in-house department, I'll obviously have to outsource it, which could turn out to be expensive. And if there's no one person to liaise, to deal with the app creation or app management as well, even if it's outsourced, it's going to be a very haphazard process. This also tells me that as of now, there's very little focus on IT. And the full potential of website sales is not being harnessed because there is nobody who's dealing with IT. Big data is something that we are ignoring. Data analytics, artificial intelligence, we have been ignoring this because nowhere is a mention of the same. And big data, data analysis is very important for any online sales company because it can help you really increase your market share. So this from your E1 syllabus is a big opportunity which I feel our company is being, a little bit oblivious to. And as we have evidenced so far, currently we have a functional group structure. If you look at the group structure and if you look at each department, it's very clear that all the other aspects, all the other departments report to their subjective or respective heads. Everything related to finance dealt with by Ben. Everything related to production dealt with by Mavis. So you can see how everything is grouped in specialized structures. Production, one department. Finance, one department. Marketing, one department. Everything happening under that department. This is a clear indication that a functional group structure is present. Seeing the images above, we can say that a functional structure seems to be in place where similar activities are grouped together and there is a degree of specialization. Generally recommended for smaller sized organizations who work in a stable environment. Now, I don't think that we work in a stable environment. Today's modern market is very dynamic. Plus, we offer many different kinds of products. So there is a realistic scenario which may come up in the exam where they ask you that, okay, we are moving to a divisional structure. We're moving to a matrix structure. What does it mean? How will it change our business? It is very important from your E1 syllabus. That is why I have pointed it out to you again. As of now, we have a functional group structure. It has its own benefits. It has its own limitations. But a realistic scenario can be moving to a divisional structure, moving to a matrix structure, which has been explained in the E1 syllabus. So at each stage, I'm going to keep pointing out syllabus areas which I feel are important, which I feel can come up because of experience, while obviously understanding each part of the company. Please do not be in a hurry. Make sure that after every page, you are able to recall what we have done so far. If you can't, go back and listen to it again. That's the advantage of having this recording. You can keep going back. You can keep revisiting it. You can keep going through it to get a deeper understanding. And trust me, the more times you go through it, the more ideas you'll have, the more relations you'll be able to make, and the more easily you'll be able to remember stuff. To make a quick overview of what we read so far in terms of the structure of the organization, we have Catherine, who looks at all aspects of the business, but focuses on product development, growth, and future direction. This is like a summary that I'm giving you. Ben deals with finance, Mavis deals with production, Sebastian deals with sales and marketing. He believes FireWorks is in a position to expand. Jane deals with HR, Jack deals with distribution. Now, all of these are executive directors, which means they are part of the day-to-day of the organization. There is no information and no mention about non-executive directors. In our F1 syllabus, we have studied the topic of corporate governance. Corporate governance says that you should have equal number of executive directors and equal number of non-executive directors for a company to be run well. But this rule is it's a rule or a guideline for listed companies. Companies that are listed on the stock exchange. Our company is not listed on the stock exchange. It's unquoted. So though we are not a listed company, following corporate governance guidelines is said to be best practice. Our company as of now has only executive directors, as we can see. So it does not adhere to the corporate governance guidelines. But as we grow, as we expand into the future, this can be something that we can look at, and an exam question which can come up from your F1 syllabus, which I feel was an important mention, because corporate governance has many rules. The majority of them, or rather the most important one of them, of having executive equal numbers to non-executive directors, is what I thought was important to mention. After that, they've given us an extract from the employee's induction manual. When a new employee joins, what do they have to go through? Now, this induction manual would obviously have been developed by the HR department or led by Jane Bevan as we have learned before, because she's well experienced, she deals with HR, she's in constant touch with sales, with marketing, with production of where employees are needed. So they've given us an overview of the manufacturing process, the introduction. The following is a summary of FireWorks manufacturing process and should be read before you take the factory induction tour. Although you are employed to work in a specific department, it is important that you know how firework grills are made. So what the culture in the organization is not just be defined to your department, to your role. Know what your company does, which is good, which is important. So if you are going to work in one of the manufacturing departments, it is vital that you know where you fit into the process. What has happened with the product before you work on it, where you work on it, who your internal customer is, what they need from you. It's very important if you are working in the manufacturing department. If you are not working in the manufacturing department, it's still important, as you want to know that the company that you work for, what does it do? How does it make its products? It builds a sense of belonging. It builds a culture where everybody is working for the betterment of the organization. Now we as registered providers and we as experienced CIMA tutors always try to keep our explanations raw, and we will not include any extra detail or any useless detail that we feel, because at every stage I can say that okay, this scenario can come up and relate it to your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. But then at every stage, in every word, we can think of these topics. When we find something important, we'll point it out to you. So don't just go digging into okay, what from E1 can come up, what from P1 can come up, what from F1 can come up. Because you are doing our video, we have pointed out the major parts. When you do the mock questions, we'll test you on major parts. So you're automatically covering everything. And we don't try to include extra details, extra analysis, because it rather harms your learning rather than, helping. So we'll keep it straightforward, we'll keep it simple, and we'll keep it to the point. The standard production procedure has been explained here. Steel pressing and welding is the first part. So this is the first stage of our manufacturing process, where we start to transform the raw materials into what we believe are the best outdoor grills on the market. There are three main activities in this stage. The first is laser cutting and preparation. The highest grade steel plate is laser cut into the required size and shape as determined by the production schedule. The metal is coated in a layer of biodegradable soap solution, which minimizes friction and helps ensure an even pressing. So firstly, we have a laser cutting machine which cuts the steel plate. So it's good that our manufacturing process is somewhat automated, uses technology, because that is how major businesses, major manufacturing businesses are increasing their capacity by less and less human intervention. After cutting, you go to pressing. The flat cut metal shape is placed on a press. The press punches the metal into the relevant shape using 800 tons of pressure. Again, you have a pressing machine that applies the press, and it starts to look like a grill. All the edges are trimmed to make certain that the cook box base and lid will fit together exactly. Last is welding. Holes for air vents plus any needed for components need to be attached during this process. Employees then weld additional grill components, example, leg coupling, ash sweepers, air vents, to each cook box. So this is where it's done manually. Employees are involved in this process. So first and foremost, laser cutting done by machine, pressing done by machine, but welding done by employees. There can be a realistic exam question where they say that we now have a new welding machine that we have introduced. How will we record that machine? So your IAS 16 property, plant and equipment comes into the picture. Secondly, they say biodegradable soap showcases some of our sustainability credentials. Now, this understanding the production process is important from the exam perspective as well, because sometimes they'll tell you that like I just said, we have a new welding machine, but you should know that up until now employees were doing this process. Now it's being done by a machine. So to know the steps is important from the exam perspective as well as from the perspective of understanding your company. Next, we have the enameling stage. Now, our grills are protected against rust and corrosion by a layer of porcelain enamel added at this second and most technically complicated stage. So over here, we will try to understand the bottleneck processes of our company as we go deeper into the pre-scene. Which part is turning out to be a bottleneck because of which we are not able to increase our capacity. Is there anything that they've mentioned that is a bottleneck? So any breakdown or delay in this enameling part will cause big repercussions for the business because it's the most complicated stage. So it could be that the enameling stage itself is a bottleneck. So the concept of maximizing throughput is the one that we need to consider here, because removing bottlenecks, or rather maximizing your return per product or maximizing your return for the product that has the highest throughput is important, and that's the throughput concept that has been taught and that has been detailed in your P1 syllabus. So as well as ensuring that our grills survive bad weather and look good for many years, the enamel helps to maintain even cooking temperature while producing exceptional food. Next, we have the cleansing process. The cookbox bases and lids are dipped into the cleaning solution and rinsed to remove any impurities. Cleansing enables the enamel to adhere correctly to the steel. Enamel applied to uncleaned steel will not cover evenly and will bubble or flake, which is not good. It's not good finishing as well. Next, you have application and firing. A dry coat of enamel known as frit is applied to the clean cookbox using an electrostatic spray gun before being fired into one of our furnaces at approximately 850 degrees centigrade. This ground coat bonds the enamel to the cookbox, and this gives you a high good pigmented finish for the FireWorks grill. So again, we can see that electrostatic spray guns are being used. Throughout the production process, we can see that the technology has been introduced and it's being used. This is a good sign for any modern business. Next, we have the assembly stage. Now, this is the stage where all different components required are collected and connected. At FireWorks, we have two assembly teams known as the mechanical team and the technical team. Each have their specialism and skill set. The team works in the same location and members frequently change teams as the need arises. So they are working together. Collaborative process, participative process from your E1 syllabus is being discussed. Now the mechanical team is responsible for attaching hinges, brackets, wheels, flanges, handles, and so on. The technical team fixes the dynamic components to the grill. Any component with integrated control mechanism or measurement role, like the temperature gauges, the gas burner valves, the bezels, is fitted and tested by a member of this team. So assembly is also complicated. It has two teams, mechanical and technical. Having the right people in the right job will be very important. So your HR functions importance is again stated over here. Last step comes the packing stage. To help minimize our carbon footprint and our delivery costs, FireWorks grills are shipped to customers using boxes that take up the smallest amount of space and the least packaging possible. Again, our sustainability credentials are showcased over here. This means that to some extent, all of our grills have to be assembled by customers themselves, at least in terms of bolting on the legs, placing the burners and grilling the racks. Okay, so there surely be a manual that is included in over there. At FireWorks, we make sure that the customers never have cause to regret their decision to buy from us because we are focusing on quality. All members of the packing department are trained to be experts at filling the correct boxes with the correct components with the correct warranty paperwork. Throughout the process, we see that we have experienced and well qualified staff throughout the organization. This will be a direct cost of our business, but the culture of our business surrounds quality and genuinity. That's your entire business motto and business system. So the packing department is the largest space where bins of fixing, packing and paperwork are situated. The configuration maximizes efficiency of the department. All boxes once filled are taped, closed and have a barcode attached to them. Boxes are then placed in a pallet for transportation to the distribution center. They go to the distribution center, and this was your production process for your organization. To quickly sum it up for you, I'll go through the important parts. First, you start with steel pressing and welding. This has 3 stages. Then you go to enameling. This has 2 stages. Then you go to assembly. This has 2 stages, and then you come to packing, which is the final stage, and then it goes to the distribution center. It's important from the student's perspective and from the exam perspective to understand what our production process is like. After that, in the induction program itself, on day 2, there is a quiz for our employees. So as you have now completed the FireWorks factory tour, you have learned quite a lot about the manufacturing process. So by taking this quiz, it should take no more than 10 minutes, but it gives an understanding to the HR manager and to the line manager how much the employee has understood and how much the employee is bought into the process. So for example, over here, they have given us the details of Martin Morales as an example employee. And the question asked is, how many times can a cookbox base be re-enameled if there is a fault with the enameling? And the answer has been provided. On average, how many people work in the packing department? 27. Okay. What is the advantage of using authentic steel rather than ferric steel to the customer? And then the employee has provided the answer. What is the manufacturing advantage of using authentic steel? How many faulty cookboxes were returned? On average, how long does it take to reset the pressing machines? What information is contained on the packing barcodes? And what use is the information on the packing barcodes? Now, I don't want you to do an extra analysis of these answers that has been provided, but I want you to see over here that how we are asking specific questions to our employees who are about to start working with us to make sure that they buy into the process. They buy into the company's culture. Keeping that in mind, there are some important suggestions over here. Firstly, they say, I find something very important over here which says how many faulty cookboxes were returned by customers during 2021? 142. As we go deeper, we'll try to see the total number of cookboxes that we make or total number of products that we sell. And out of that, only 142 were returned. So it's still a good number for our business, shows that we are focusing on quality. Next, they say, how long does it take to reset the pressing machines for a different model? 60 minutes. Once you, for example, you are making, a gas-based grill. The next production set is for charcoal-based. You will take 60 minutes for a different grill model just to be set up. Then the process can begin. Now this is a clear indication that there will be setup costs, setup times, and again a clear indication that your costing system can be activity based, costing based, because these indications have been provided here. Same way, the information on packing barcodes is about the batch number, the product number, the time and date of packing, which gives you a clear indication that each part or each process is very well laid out, and hence activity based costing can be a realistic suggestion, something that we'll speak about more when we go deeper into our discussions. But see how much and how many questions we are asking to our employees, and we learned certain aspects of our company and certain opportunities for our company by just reading this. For example, we learned about the number of returns, we learned about the possibility of activity-based costing. So the quiz is something that is innovative and not normal business practice. We don't see this normally. Good for all employees to know the details of each part of the business. Up until now, we had only spoken about the manufacturing process. Let's speak about other company operations, other information about the company. First, we are speaking about production facility. We know that everything is made in Bieland. All FireWorks grills are manufactured at the company's single production facility, which includes a large raw material warehouse located for ease of moving the inputs into the production building. So the single production facility has many benefits but drawbacks as well. Let's think one facility, one factory where all products are being made. Obviously it's beneficial because it's easier, simpler to manage, but there will be disadvantages of if there is a if there are any blockages, if there are any problems in the production process, the entire facility will have to shut down. The entire system will face a delay. So let's just keep this in mind and move on. We also see that we have a large raw material warehouse, which obviously means you're storing your raw material. This further means that currently JIT, TQM is not being implemented by the business. When we have such strong supplier relations, should we not explore JIT as a modern business? And this would further strengthen our working capital position, cash position, because too much money won't be tied up into raw materials. Is this a possibility? So working capital management, part of your F1 syllabus, JIT, TQM, quality based production, part of your E1 and P1 syllabus. That is why I have pointed it out to you. Within the production facility, there are 4 departments. We already spoke about this in the manufacturing process: pressing and welding, enameling, assembly, and packing. Production at the production facility is an all year round activity, continuous production, despite seasonality affecting sales quite significantly. So despite of us selling more in certain seasons and selling less in other seasons, production is continuous. You don't base your production on the demand. You make your products for inventory as well. That's what they're telling you. So a lot of money is being committed to that inventory holding, inventory storage, insurance costs, which will take a toll on your working capital, part of F1 syllabus. Secondly, they're telling us that seasonality is affecting my business. I very clearly know that a good summer means good sales for a grilling business. So our business has seasonal variations, has the time series concept which comes into the picture over here, which is straight from your P1 syllabus. Knowing what the time series analysis is, knowing what seasonal variations are, is very important because you can expect an exam question on the same. Also, you are keeping on your production. So production capacity management from your P1 syllabus will be important. It also shows that we are producing for inventory. Holding large inventory has its own drawbacks. F1 syllabus, which I have just now spoken about. Typically, sales are highest in the warmer spring and summer months and are lower in the cold autumn and winter months. FireWorks aims to produce at a constant rate throughout the year. Keep producing. Therefore, the inventory of finished goods increases in colder months and decreases in warmer months. So your inventory recognition, inventory management, IAS 2 on inventories is very important, because there has been a mention of inventory, focus of inventory throughout the pre-scene, which is from your F1 syllabus. Next aspect we speak about is our purchasing and suppliers. We spoke about production. We're now speaking about purchasing and suppliers. The company is always focused on buying high quality raw materials to manufacture top quality product. We know this. The main inputs into the manufacturing process are heavy gauge authentic stainless steel. This is a high grade stainless steel available from many suppliers throughout Europe. FireWorks has excellent relations with a few trusted suppliers. These relationships helped FireWorks in 2007 when global steel prices increased sharply. But as the best possible prices were secured because of our relationship. So this is available throughout Europe. We are buying it from different countries. So your foreign exchange difference, because you're buying it from Europe, different countries, your currency is the B dollars. There might be a different currency that you may have to pay in when you are purchasing from another country. So your foreign exchange risks comes into the picture. Also, understanding the conditions of trade payables will be important here. You're buying doesn't mean you're paying on the same day. There is always 30-60 days of credit. So the cycle of trade payables and how you can finance these payables is very important, which is part of your F1 syllabus. There is a whole chapter on this. So first raw material that we buy is heavy gauge austenitic stainless steel. Second, frit. This is specialized material. Debbie Wheeler believed that if the enameled quality failed, it would cost the company dearly in terms of reworks, scrap, and reputation. You buy this from a single trusted supplier. You don't want any problems here. We'll always have to keep in mind single supplier versus multiple supplier arrangements. So pause over here, quiz yourself. What is the benefit of a single supplier? What is the benefit of a multi-supplier arrangement? Next, additional components that we buy include bezels, control panels, wheels, handles, and so on. These are purchased from many approved suppliers. FireWorks specifies the exact requirement from the in-house designs, and suppliers submit their tender. Whichever tender is good, you go with it. And these tenders have become more competitive, which at the end of the day has benefited our company. All accessories are purchased from good quality suppliers. These are usually companies that manufacture and sell their own designs under their own label. The products that they supply to FireWorks tend to be the same products, some modifications with the FireWorks logo added. They're telling us all accessories that we sell, the spatulas or the extra, the charcoal or the wood pellets that we sell is purchased from good quality suppliers. You just add your minor modifications and you add your FireWorks logo. So branding is what is being done over here. And okay, we must have made a make versus buy decision, like we spoke about it. Rather than making the spatulas and rather than making the tongs and all the other stuff which we are selling as accessories in-house, it was always cheaper to buy it rebrand it, and sell it. So make versus buy decision, like I spoke about, has already been done over here. And that is why all accessories are purchased from good quality suppliers. Next, non-key manufacturing materials are purchased based on the lowest price at the time of the purchase. Non-manufacturing supplies such as stationery tend to be purchased on the same way. These are inconsequential. Several managers in the company buy items they need for their work and claim the money back through petty cash. It's the normal business system. So what are the key words to define our strategy? Premium quality, we already know this. Prices could be higher than competitors because of your such high quality and warranty claims. You are an innovative company. Strong supplier relationships and focus on packaging where quality and sustainability has been taken into account, which we have discussed in the in the entire manufacturing process. We discussed about being a little bit sustainable in the packaging process. So these are some keywords which you can focus on, remember, and then use when the time comes in mock questions. That's the entire purpose of such a detailed pre-scene analysis that we are doing together. Next, we are speaking about the sales market and the sales channels. This is where they'll tell us where we sell, how we sell, that is detailed upon. So FireWorks sells its grill via 3 main channels. We already know this, we've discussed it. Through retailers, through customers in other countries via third-party agents, and from our own website. For the year ended 30th June 2022, grill sales volume through each of the channels were split as follows. A very clear lopsided advantage is to the Beeland retailers. 68% of our sales volume comes from Beeland retailers. The third party agents is 12%. Small, the website is only 20%. Now we can see that the website generates 20% of our revenue, which is close to 15.3 million. This is a huge opportunity for the business to grow into it as more and more customers are moving their purchases online. So what can we do to entice our customers to purchase online? Maybe some offers, maybe some price reductions, maybe some product bundling. So perhaps expanding into mobile applications can also be thought of. The Beeland retailers are the largest market share. Obviously, when you sell through a retailer, you'll have to give them their cut, their commission, their percentage. So it's going to be better for you if you promote website sales, but retailers are generating majority of the revenue for you so far. FireWorks has always sold its products via selected retail outlets in Beeland. These include garden centers, quality department stores, and specialist outdoor stores as well. These outlets are not only important in terms of the volume that they sell, but it's also because the customer gets a chance to view, touch, feel the grill before they buy. So yes, it is important, and we've seen this in the pre-scene analysis, in the industry analysis, that majority of the companies sell through retailers in this market. Purchasing a FireWorks grill represents a significant investment for most, so they want to touch and feel before they make any commitment. That's why retailers are such a big, large chunk. Third-party agents, at present, FireWorks does not have physical presence in any other country. So again, a chance that we start to have physical presence in a particular country outside of Beeland can be a situation that arises. Third, the website. In 2001, the company established the website, so it's relatively new. Only 21 years ago, the website was set up. Business has been going on since the 1980s. In 2004, after investment in the distribution center and new technology, it began selling direct to customers. Website sales are around 20% of the total volume sold. Research suggests that most sales from the website are from either repeat customers or new customers that have visited a retail outlet. So retail outlets are very important so that the customer can touch and feel. But some choose to buy from the website because of its convenience, or maybe because there is some offer or product bundling which is only website specific. So website is the area of growth, because in all modern businesses, everybody wants to buy online. Everybody wants to purchase online. Next, we go to distribution center and logistics. Now, the company has a distribution center located near to the production facility. Finished goods are transferred from the production facility to the distribution center daily. We know that we are producing for inventory. Another evidence that JIT is not being used. Purchases of accessories are received direct into the distribution center from suppliers. Okay. FireWorks has its own fleet of delivery vehicles, which is uses to transport goods to retailers throughout Beeland. You have your own fleet, you have your own vehicles. So depreciation, management will be the same. Straightforward indication to your IAS 16, property, plant and equipment. This is part of your, I will say, non-current assets. But like the vehicles, you have other non-current assets as well, like your production facility, like your other machines. So that is where PPE IAS 16 comes into the picture, which is your F1 syllabus. Now let's think, is this something that we can outsource? Do we need our own delivery vehicles to transport to retailers? This seems to be like a non-core activity which can be outsourced, and a way that we can cut costs. Outsourcing is part of our E1 syllabus, and I thought important to bring it up just so you can question yourself. Is this possible for our business? I think it is, because it's not a core activity for us. This fleet of vehicles is also used to transport goods to the warehouses of third-party agents as well, which are located near Beeland's borders. The third-party agent deals with all other aspects of export. Within the distribution center, there is a dedicated area where website orders are processed. Grills are dispatched in the box that they have been packed in, no additional packages added, and external courier services are used to deliver items to the customer. If a customer orders online, it goes through an external courier service. As we can see, there are a variety of stakeholders that we have to deal with. So stakeholder management, relationship management from your E1 syllabus is a very important topic over here. That brings us to the next aspect, which is the employees. Employees make the organization. They are very, very important. If you look at production, it has the largest percentage of employees in our organization. Out of the 316 employees, 190 are based in the production department. That's close to 60% in the production department itself. So majority of our employees are employed in the production department. Next, you have distribution and logistics, and head office has 41. Now the breakup of the head office is not given. So I'm assuming that 41 people are running the entire back office and admin of the organization. So there's no breakup of head office, which means head office is doing the job of IT, HR, finance, accounting, marketing, sales, logistics, the dealing of the finance side of logistics. Everything falls over here. Everything except the production distribution aspect would fall under head office naturally. 41 people to run so much? IT is ever growing in this digital world. We have ignored app management, website management in terms of big data, in terms of data analytics. Further IT improvements and expansions will be on the card. Will 41 people be enough? Will we need a new IT department or an IT chief? May be necessary. Next, innovative marketing and sales techniques are being promoted all over the world. If staff are under unrealistic pressure, they will not be able to perform and meet their goals. Same way with the finance function, which also falls under head office. Finance is ever changing, ever evolving, ever demanding. If unrealistic workloads are being implemented, it will not be to the long-term success of the company. To a very important aspect now, which is standard costing and budgets. Very, very important. Pay attention. Now, the company operates a standard absorption costing system using departmental overhead absorption rates based on either direct labor hours or machine hours. So very, very standard, very, very traditional absorption costing system being used, and your overheads are absorbed on direct labor hours or machine hours. So over here, you should have a clear indication of your P1 syllabus. You should know what the standard absorption costing system is, its advantages, disadvantages. What the marginal costing system is, its advantages, disadvantages. What the activity-based costing system is, its advantages, its disadvantages. Very realistic exam scenario is where they tell you we are moving to marginal costing. We are moving to activity-based costing. Do you think it's useful? You should know what these systems are. We are obviously going to test you with mock questions on them, but you should know what the concept is. So for a big company like ours, which is progressive in its thinking and has different kinds of products in different variants, a robust costing system is very important. A standard and traditional absorption costing system has its own flaws, and this is where your P1 syllabus comes into the play. A change to activity-based costing or marginal costing can definitely be an exam scenario. Standard cost cards are produced for each grill design and are updated annually. So annual cost cards, a very clear indication of your variance analysis that will be needed. And a standard cost card is mentioned which only changes once a year. You can see the drawbacks of absorption costing brought up. Next, standard costs are used for the purposes of valuing inventory in the financial statements. And budgets are prepared annually on an incremental basis. So the incremental budgeting system is being used here. What are the different budgeting systems? Your incremental budgeting, zero-based budgeting, activity-based budgeting are some exam scenarios which can definitely come up. You should know the pros and the cons of each system. 2 to 3 pros, 2 to 3 cons is very important, and this is straight from your P1 syllabus. Next, operational managers have limited involvement in budget setting, which means lower level managers have to simply follow the rules. Their opinion is not taken in budget setting. So this paragraph mentions the use of a top-down approach where budgets are set by the top management. Everybody at the lower level simply follows. Now this would not seem very beneficial in today's modern and dynamic business environment. On the other hand, there is a bottom-down approach where everybody is involved in the setting of the budget. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. It will be very important for you to know what the limitations of the top-down budget setting process are, and what the limitations of the bottom-down budget setting processes are. Both have their advantages, both have their disadvantages. Have a thought on it, because our business uses top-down budgeting, where everything is set at the top, everybody at the bottom simply follows. Think about the advantages, think about the disadvantages over here, and I'm sure they will come to you. But this is also part of your P1 and E1 syllabus. Now we go to the financial part of the analysis, a very important part, because without the financials, is the understanding of any company ever complete? I don't think so. We need to know the backbone of the company, we need to know the financials of the company, and we need to know the numbers that the company is generating, that the company is putting out, to understand the prospects, to understand the situation of the company a little bit better. So what we will do for you is we have an entire analysis ready for you. With this analysis, we will be telling you how we understand the company better. Also, we will be telling you how you can use these numbers as part of the mock questions that we are going to write, that we are going to present for you, because that is the only reason of why are we going through all of this trouble of going through the company and understanding our company. To firstly know the company in and out, secondly to write a good mock question. That's what we are here for, and that's why this analysis is so detailed. We're going to tell you how you can use these numbers, how you should use some of these numbers rather, to better your integrative marks when we go to mock writing. So first we look at the absolute numbers, the exact statement that CIMA has given us. First we'll look at that. Secondly, I'll present an analysis to you on these numbers which we have created. And thirdly, we'll give you a written conclusion as well as to what these numbers could mean for our company. So a three-way study, a three-way analysis is going to be used and presented to you for each statement that is there on your screen. So first we'll pick the statement of profit or loss. By looking at absolute numbers, we'll first try to make some conclusions, and then I'll take you to my analysis. So if you compare the revenue has increased. I'll look at the numbers that they have given us. From 72,920, it went up to 76,540. So from 72 million, if you look at it with the zeros, it went to 76.5 million. So a good increase in the revenue. The cost of sales also increased, but you will see that the cost of sales was a lesser increase than the increase in revenue, which means revenue went up more, cost of sales went up less, which means there is going to be an increase in the gross profit because there was more revenue, cost was less. Gross profit increased, which we can see. Your selling and distribution expenses pretty much in the same bracket. Admin expenses also pretty much in the same bracket. We don't see a huge increase, huge decrease. So not too much to analyze there. But because of the increase in gross profit and because of no huge increases in selling admin expenses, your operating profit was high. Your operating profit improved from the last year. Finance costs, which means the interest that you pay on your loans, went up. This could be because of two reasons. The interest goes up because maybe the interest rate increased, or maybe you took a new loan and that is why you had to pay that extra interest on that loan. We'll see when we go to the balance sheet what has actually happened, what has actually occurred. But finance cost increase can have two reasons which I mentioned for you. And then profit before tax also showed a good increase. Income tax also went up. Now this could be again straightforward because the revenue went up. So the more you earn, the tax increases proportionately. And your profit for the year showed a good increase as well over here. Now if you look at my analysis, first we spoke about the absolute numbers. These absolute numbers is what we spoke about and what we tried to analyze to help understand our company's situation. Now we look at my analysis. For a very, very simple example, I'll give you. Very simple example if I put forward for you, you will see that these numbers over here are ones which can be a little bit difficult to understand, right? Or difficult to remember. Let me put it that way. If I tell you, remember the revenue of our company, 76.5 million, okay, rememberable. But you have so much else to remember from your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. You have so much else to remember from this pre-scene. And this number might get lost. So what we have done is turned these absolute numbers into percentages. So it's a little bit more easier for you to remember, easier for you to replicate, and it shows the picture of the company in a little bit of a better way. I'll showcase that to you. So now to the analysis that we have created. So to show you that these numbers or these percentages will take your understanding to a different level, let me simply pull up the profit or loss statement again. So we saw that the revenue went up, the cost of sales went up. Now when you look at these actual numbers, you'll see that revenue went up by a larger number, cost of sales went up by a smaller number when compared to revenue. But when comparing absolute numbers, you don't get the real picture. When comparing percentage terms, you understand the real picture position of your company. So revenue went up by 5%. Cost of sales went up by 5.82%. So they were in pretty much the same bracket, but the revenue and the cost going up by the same percentage is somewhat an area of concern which needs to be looked at, because the cost of sales has to be controlled to make sure that you have a larger gross profit, to make sure that you're making a larger profit for the business. So only when you look at these percentage numbers, you can make sense of that fact. Now also thinking about the percentage and why it's easier to remember. Now is it easier to remember 44,140 whatever the cost of sales was, 76,500 and something whatever the revenue was, or 76.5 million, however you want to say it? I feel it's way more easier to remember 5% or 4.9%. Cost of sales 5.82%. Easier to remember, right? That's why we do it as a percentage for you. Firstly, to show you the actual picture which we saw. Secondly, so that these are rememberable numbers and you can directly use it when the time comes in mock writing. For example, when you are writing a mock question about expansion, just giving an example, you can start your answer by saying that our revenue went up by close to 5%, which shows us that for exponential growth, to take our company to the next level, it could be needed to diversify into different markets, different segments. So by mentioning that revenue percentage, you show the examiner that, okay, this student has gone through the pre-scene. This student has gone through the financials, has made an effort. It adds business skill, it adds integrity, it adds more, just integration to your answer, which is why we also do it as a percentage for you. So firstly, we speak about the absolute numbers. Secondly, we give you the percentage terms so that you can remember them and use them when the time comes in mock question writing. Next, selling and distribution went up by 2%, admin 2%, operating profit healthy 9.6%. Finance costs went up by close to 17%, and I gave you the reason for it. Only two reasons. Maybe maybe there is a new loan that's taken, or maybe the interest rate increased. We'll find that out at a later stage. And your profit before tax, good increase of close to 9 or 10%, however you want to put it. Now these are important numbers because it tells you about the situation of the company. And then everything that I spoke about has been put into words for you. So we saw a small increase of 5% in our revenue. This is in line with the growth in the industry and the market analysis that we've done. There was an increase of 5.82 in cost of sales. This also means that revenue showed a lower increase than cost of revenue, cost of sales. So it's something that needs to be looked at. Selling and distribution 2.2, operating profit 9.6. Okay, no worries. Finance cost, we spoke about it. Your tax rate, effective tax rate remained at 25%. So your tax increased mainly because there was more revenue, more income, so more tax. The tax rate was constant at 25%. Operating profit margin and net profit margin increased slightly, which we saw in the absolute figures as well. So from our statement of profit or loss, we can see that the revenue has gone up, but the cost of sales went up higher than the revenue, but still you ended up showing a good operating profit, a good net profit, which is a good sign for the business. This is how we'll be making an analysis for each statement. Next, we go to the statement of financial position. This is the statement of financial position they've given us for 30th June 2022. This is also called the balance sheet. Let's look at each item one by one quickly. So comparing the property, plant and equipment, it has gone down. Maybe we sold some part of an asset. Maybe an asset was sold or a part of the asset was sold. Next, we have right of use of the asset. So the right of use have gone up, which clearly means that a new lease was taken, because when a lease is taken, the right of use of the asset is recorded. So when a new lease is taken, the right of use of assets goes up. That has happened here. So a new lease has been taken, and this further represents your IFRS 16 rather, on leases, which is very important for your case study exam. Next, we move to the current assets. When we move to the current assets, we see that the inventory has gone up. Trade receivables have gone up. Inventory value has increased. Receivables value has increased. So your money has been deposited, or your money has been invested in inventory, is stuck in trade receivables, which has gone up, which could be a problem for the working capital cycle from your F1 syllabus. This is very important. You should weigh out the pros and cons of holding inventory, not holding inventory. This is F1 syllabus. How to finance trade receivables, how to quickly get your money from the trade receivables, the methods explained in the F1 syllabus. So again, pointing out the important syllabus areas for you. Then we have prepayments and other receivables. Okay, cash and cash equivalents went up, and that brings me to my total assets of 36,058. I'm using the numbers that they have given us. Next, looking at the equity part. The equity has remained the same. The share capital remained the same. It's not a listed company. Retained earnings went up. Obviously, you made a profit. The part of the profit is retained within the company. So retained earnings went up. The borrowings, very surprisingly, have remained the same. You'll see that 2,300. But the finance cost had gone up, which clearly means that the debt has been refinanced, which means maybe from 7%, your interest became 9% or 10%, whatever. But the interest rate went up. The lease liability has also increased. We know the right of use increase. So you've taken a new lease. So your lease payments, the lease liability will increase. If you look at current liabilities, the payables have gone up. Other payables, pretty much the same. Tax liability, we spoke about. Lease liability has gone up again because a new lease has been taken. So the payment in this year has to be made. And that brings me to my total equity and liabilities. So these are the absolute numbers that we looked at. Now again, we'll look at the percentages that we have calculated for you. Next, we go to the number analysis or percentage analysis, as I said. So over here, we've calculated some percentages for you. And I will recommend that only follow these. Doing an extra analysis or extra research or extra percentage study will not be the best way forward, because we're not getting anything from it. We are doing this analysis to understand about our company. And the numbers that we have presented are more than enough for your analysis. You don't need to dig in extra, study extra, break down extra, none of that. Because then it will become like an endless tunnel. We've calculated the most important ratios for you, percentages for you, which we feel are important for you to understand the company. First one is return on capital employed. This is a very important number, and it's quite high for our business at 28%. It says that it's a ratio or a percentage of the money that's invested and the return you are getting on that money. Now, if anybody wants to invest in, let's say our business is growing, they need investors. They're selling part of the equity of the company. A person will only invest if they see it lucrative, if they see it as a good return on their investment. And right now, my company has an ROCE of close to 28%, which is quite a good return. So this number can be kept in mind and can be used when you go to your mock question writing. Why not? It's an important number, an important factor, and it can add good value, integrative skills to your answer. So it can definitely be taken up. Next, we have the non-current asset turnover, revenue upon the non-current assets. The non-current assets have gone down, and the revenue has increased, which is shown in the number here from 4.9. It's in the same ratio, it's in the same region, it's in the same bracket, remains at 4.77. Current ratio, on the other hand, current assets upon current liabilities, again in the same bracket. Quick ratio remained in the same bracket. No huge changes in the last year to today's year. No huge changes. Return on assets also in the same bracket, in the same feature. And gearing also remaining the same, as gearing is calculated as debt upon debt plus equity. Your equity total changed a little bit, hence there is a slight change in the gearing, but the debt has remained the same. So let's look at a conclusion of the same. Now the ROCE has remained constant. Non-current asset decreased slightly, which is attributed to an increase in your non-current assets overall. The current ratio and quick ratio measure the liquidity performance of the company. A ratio of 1 would indicate that the company has enough short-term funds to meet its short-term liabilities. The current ratio and liquidity ratio seem healthy as it's over 1. The quick ratio is barely over 1, however, and it should be improved. So the quick ratio is a sign of liquidity, and we have our money tied up in inventory, we have our money tied up in receivables. So it is a little bit of an issue to manage the quick ratio a little bit so that we don't have working capital difficulties, which is further evidenced by this ratio analysis that we are doing. The return on asset ratio has also remained constant, and the gearing is also in the same bracket, but it's very low, only 11%. It's 0.11, right? So let's say 11% of the company's financing is coming from debt. Everything else is coming from equity. It's an majority equity financed company. Only 11% of it is coming from debt, which now in the financial world, it is said that debt is cheaper than equity in terms of finance. Why? Because the interest that you pay on debt is tax deductible. You remove the interest amount from your profit and then the tax is calculated. So your profit figure becomes lower because the debt interest was removed. So it's cheaper in terms of the tax saving. And our company is using only 11% of debt. So if there is a situation where the company is going to go abroad, where it needs money, where it's going to make a new investment, maybe in a new line or a new machinery or a new product, you can suggest that because our debt ratio is very low right now at close to 11%, we can look at debt financing, taking up more loans, taking up outer financing from outside of the business rather than equity, to make sure that we are using the cheap factor of debt financing. It can be a suggestion, and when you write something like that, examiner knows that this student has studied the pre-scene. This student has very clearly gone through the pre-scene. This student knows what the company should do, knows what the company is doing, and accordingly you can suggest. So it really adds value to your answer writing. And at the end of the day, that is why we are doing all of this analysis and all of this study together. Now we go to the statement of cash flow statement. Now when looking at the cash flow statement, again we'll first divide the cash flow statement as always like it's prepared in 3 parts. The cash flow statement, remember, is the incoming and the outgoing of cash only. It shows your cash position. So cash flows from operating activities, and when I say cash, I mean inflow and outflow of money. So first, cash flow from operating activities. Operating activities means the FireWorks business. Profit before tax, we start at 6898. Depreciation is always added back because it's a non-cash expense. Do you pay depreciation to anybody? No, you just, as an accounting effect, remove that amount from the value of the asset. So it's not cash based. So you add it back. It has nothing to do with cash, right? So depreciation added back, right of use of asset is added back, finance costs added back. Now, movements in working capital needs to be recorded. Your inventory increased, money got stuck, so 427 reduced. Receivables, money got stuck, again you have to receive that money, 1487 reduced. Payables, which means you didn't pay that money, so you have that money with you, 605 added back. The logic here is whatever the inflow and outflow is recorded, nothing else. Now your total for cash generated from operations is 7712. From this you pay your tax, you pay your interest. This gets you to your net cash inflow. It's positive, so it's an inflow of cash. Next, there is investing activities. What investments did you make during the year? You purchased property, plant and equipment. That's what they're telling me. Okay. Now a very, I'll say a very good sign over here is that if you look at the property, plant and equipment value, it has gone down from the last year. So what we assumed, that an asset was sold or part of the asset was sold. But when the value has gone down, which means there has been a depreciation effect, and then you purchased an asset, and this is your final added value. So get the logic here, and this we can relate only because of doing these statements, and I pointed it out to you right now because right now it will make more sense to you. So from last year's value, you remove whatever depreciation there is by the end of this year. Then you add your purchase of 1430. Its money went out because you purchased. So the net cash flow from investing is 1430. We come to financing now. For financing, you paid dividend. So paid, gone out of the business, 3000. Repayment of lease principal, again repayment, so money paid. Net cash outflow from financing is 3550. So from operations, it was positive 7712. Investing, it was negative, so minus 1430. Financing, it was negative 3550. The remaining is 893. What was the cash available at the start of the year? 890. You add it, the cash at the end of the year that you have remaining is 1783. This is how the cash flow statement is read. And every single thing that I spoke about is mentioned to you as form of a conclusion over here. So it's important to know that our business right now is still cash rich. It has money, it has cash on hand, but the working capital cycle needs to keep running, and the working capital problems I have already discussed with you when we were doing the other tables above. But this is how the cash flow statement is read. I hope you have understood it. Go through it again if you want, pause it, rewind it, go through it again if you want. That's the added advantage of having this video recorded explanation of the pre-scene. That's very important. Now we are going on to the budgetary analysis section. Now, up until now we did the financials, but in the financials, there are some budgets that they have given us, which we obviously have to analyze, which we obviously have to go through, because this will give us insights into the company's program in terms of how they're selling, what the selling price is for each product and all of that. First table that we are looking at is the budgeted gross profit table. This is the table which shows the gross profit margin for each product. Now, if I look at each product, there are four main categories rather. Three which we make and sell. Fourth one is the accessories which we brand and sell. Now, if I look at this is the budget. Remember, for this current year, we expect the sales revenue to be 80 million, from 76.5 to roughly 80.1 million. That's what we have budgeted for. And the gross profit margin for gas grills is 17,778. I'm talking about the gross profit here. For charcoal grills, 8865, and for electric grills, 6142. Now, in terms of the absolute number, the highest gross profit is going to come from gas grills. This is where the highest profit is going to come from in terms of absolute numbers. But again, percentages tell the true story here. If you look at the margin, then out of the 10,400 revenue of electric grills, 6,000 is profit, which means close to 60% is your gross profit margin for electric grills. So your most profitable product is electric grills. Your second most profitable product is gas grills, even though it has the largest gross profit. And the third most profitable product is charcoal grills. So the product which you sell the most is gas grills, but the product where there is the most profit is electric grills. So you have to make sure that you try and sell more and more electric grills, because that is where the profit is. For accessories is 42.6%. So if you compare all products, the third most profitable is accessories, and the fourth most profitable is charcoal grills. Your total gross profit margin expected to be close to 42%. Okay. So analysis of the same, everything that I just spoke is put down in terms of words for you. So we expect about 50% of our total revenue to come from gas grills. Total revenue is 33,615. Out of that, 50% almost is coming from gas grills. Next will come from charcoal grills, and only 13% of the revenue will come from electric and remaining from accessories. So you can see that majority of people are choosing to buy gas grills, but it's not most profitable for you. Overall, we expect our gross profit margin to be about 42%. It's very clear that the most popular product is gas grills, and the most profitable product is electric grills. It should be something that you are trying to sell more and more. After that, they've given us a gas grills sales revenue breakdown. Remember, gas grills is your most popular product. They've given us a revenue breakdown for each model. Remember, you have two models, the firecracker small and large, the crackerjack small and large, right? So they've given you short forms of that. FCR is firecracker, CJK is crackerjack, and in each you have the small and the large option. Firstly, we look at sales volume. If you look at sales volume, you will see, I'll look at the totals here, 14,200 units for gas grills we expect to sell on the website. Through retailers and agents, we expect to sell 56,800 units. Total of 71,000 units is what the budget is to sell. Out of that, only 14,200 you are selling online. Now remember, your own website is always going to be cheaper to sell, because you don't have to pay a cut to retailers. That's simple as that. Then they've given us the sales price as well. If you look at the sales price for the website and the retailers, you will see that the website is selling at a higher price. Retailers and agents you are giving at a lower price. It's obviously more beneficial for you to sell on the website. The retailers and agents, you are giving them, for example, $562. the small firecracker. Then they'll sell it at the retail price, whatever the retail price is. So you're giving that cut to the retailers and the agents that you are selling through. So it's obviously more beneficial for you if you sell directly through the website. So website management, developing an application, app management, or looking at big data, data analysis to increase website sales has to be one area that we look at. And then in terms of sales revenue as well, total revenue they've said is 40,040 for this product, of which 10,000 only is coming from the website. 30,000 is expected to come from retailers. So it's very, very clear to understand over here that the price that we are giving to retailers at is lower than the price you are selling directly at to the customer, which eventually is the reason why website sales should be promoted. Now, let's look at a conclusion again, analysis. 20% of our sales volume of gas grill is expected to come from the website. Only 20%. The remaining 80%, 56,800, going to come from the retailers and agents only. If we look at the numbers, in terms of numbers, if we look at it, we expect the Crackerjack small, or rather the Crackerjack criteria, to be the most selling product because it's going to sell 28,000 units. Second is Crackerjack large. Then there is Firecracker small, and Firecracker large is the fourth last. So the one that is most popular is Crackerjack small, or overall you can say the Crackerjack criteria is one which people are looking to buy. What could be the reason? It's very clear in the sales price. The sales price for Crackerjack is less than that of Firecracker, and maybe that is why people are going for it, because in the pre-scene they have also mentioned that this industry is quite price sensitive and it's a good investment of $500 also to buy Crackerjack small. So Crackerjack could be preferred because of the price difference to Firecracker. That's what we learned over here. It is interesting to note that the selling prices of retailers and agents are 25% cheaper than the prices mentioned on the website. This is because you also need to give some kind of commission, some kind of cut. This also explains why 80% of the sales come from retailers and agents. The products are 25% cheaper than the website. That's the price that we are giving them at. And hence, at the end of the day, that is where the sale is, because people like to touch, feel, see the product. And then slowly the trend is now moving online as well. In terms of revenue, we expect about 25% to come from the website and 75% to come from the agents or from our retailers. Crackerjack contributes majority of the revenue, followed by Crackerjack small, Firecracker small, and the remaining from Firecracker large. We already spoke about that when we looked at the units. So by looking at this table and by going through the analysis like I showed you, it is very clear to understand that the gas grills, Crackerjack small is the major unit that we are selling most, and it could be because of the price effect or the $500 price. I'm just comparing as an example compared to the other models that we are selling. Next, we have gas grills, cost of sales. They've given us the cost of sales breakdown. So quite interestingly, they gave us the budgeted revenue. Now they're giving us the cost of sales breakdown. So taking the total sales volumes to start with, then the production cost per unit has been given. Raw material cost is majority of the cost. The total cost per unit for Firecracker small is 303. Out of that, 209 is only going in raw materials. So you can see the raw material cost is the major cost for my business. Then comes direct labor. Then there is variable production overhead, which we are absorbing on the basis of total labor hours or total machine hours because of the absorption costing system that we are using. Then we arrive at our total cost per unit and giving us the total cost of sales when we multiply it by the total sales volume. 15,000 into 303 gives me my total cost of sales. If I make an analysis of this, out of the total cost of sales of 22,262, the breakdown over here is what we have given you. Firecracker small contributes to 20% of the total cost of sales. Firecracker large, 14.5%. Crackerjack small, 32%. And Crackerjack large, 33.5%. So, Crackerjack large is a unit where, or is a product where more cost is incurred to make the product. So, this analysis tells us where the costs are and where the actual cost is being incurred. If you look at our products, you will see majority of the cost is the raw material cost. So controlling the raw material, controlling the quality of the raw material, controlling your relation with suppliers will be very important, and this is a direct cost. Then there is direct labor, then there is production overhead, which is variable and fixed. Now, one major drawback of using this absorption costing system is that you get no breakdown. Production overhead, this much. Fixed production overhead, this much. What can I learn from this? If, for example, I was using activity-based costing, I could have known setup time, they've mentioned in the pre-scene, is 6 hours or 60 minutes, sorry, is 60 minutes for one particular after we make one particular unit, there's a setup time that my business incurs. So setup costs could have been a driver, or setup costs could be something that that would be visible here if I was using activity based costing. Same way, the cost of inspections could be one which I could see over here. There's mentioned in our manufacturing process that there are inspections. So this production overhead would be broken down, and I would be able to understand my costs better. Over here, everything is grouped. I can't understand anything better. That is why we recommend, or that is why activity-based costing is one of the methods which is quite important and it is quite significant in your CIMA operational case study exam. Also specifically because for this company, your majority cost is going in the direct cost, for example, raw material, direct labor, but still you are incurring a good percentage for variable overhead, fixed overhead, which you should understand, which you may be able to control better only if you have a breakdown and if you move to activity-based costing. So it's one of the advantages of moving to activity-based costing that I have spoken about. Let's come to the gross profit breakdown now. The total gross profit is 17,778. We got it from the table above. I'm just going to scroll above so that you can see it. How did we get it? It's very simple. I'll show you the calculation right here. So total calculated as 9,000 minus 4,552. The 9,000 was the profit for Firecracker small. You reduce 4,552, which is the cost of sales, divided by 17,778, which is your total gross profit. Your total profit minus the total cost of sales will give you the gross profit. Multiplied by 100, you will see that 25% of the gross profit is coming from Firecracker small. As simple as that. There's no rocket science over here. The total revenue minus the total cost of sales gives you your gross profit. 17,778. Out of that, 25% is coming from, so the total revenue for Firecracker small minus the cost of sales for Firecracker small divided by the gross profits, you will see that 25% is coming from Firecracker small. 21% from Firecracker Large, 23% from Crackerjack Small, and 31% of Crackerjack Large. So this is a very clear analysis as to which product is generating the gross profit for my business out of the total gross profit. If the total gross profit was 100, 3,100 is coming from Crackerjack Large. Just giving you an example. So with all of these numbers, we are understanding our company better. We are understanding our cost structure better. We are understanding our costs better and the total cost of sales in a better way. Next, to charcoal grills now. The same analysis is given for charcoal grills. Now for charcoal grills, the sales revenue has been listed down over here. They've given you the three categories that we have. The website sales have been mentioned. The retail and agent sales have been mentioned. A very clear landslide over here. The most that we sell is the SKR range. The highest that we sell is for the SKR range, 64,000 units out of the 115,000. So over 50% we expected to sell the SKR range. Again, if you look at it, the trend is that the product with a lower price is selling the most, because SKR is priced at $250 on the website and we are giving it to retailers and agents at 187.50. So you can see that the customers in this Beeland market are going for a product that is priced at a lower end, but still from a premium company like ours. Again, if I look at the sales revenue over here is broken down in such a way where majority of the revenue is coming from the SKR range, but very important, for SKR you're selling 64,000 units. For the RKT version, you're expected to sell 43,000, 20,000 less units. But if you look at the total revenue that is expected, pretty much the same for RKT and SKR. We'll do the profitability analysis down below, but it's a very clear sign that RKT is also a product that you should be focusing on. So about 20% of our sales volumes of the charcoal grill is expected to come from the website, and 80% again following the same method, 20% coming from website, 80% coming from retailers and agents. SKR is going to be the most sold range. Again, it is interesting to note that the selling prices of retailers and agents are 25% cheaper than that on the website. This is because there is need to give commission. The same thing has been mentioned. In terms of revenue, we can expect 25% to come from the website and 75% to come from the agents. SKR contributes majority of the revenue at 46%, RKT at about 43%, and remaining from SNR, which is about 11%. So most selling product is SKR, and it is shown in the number of units that we are expected to sell. Now coming to the cost of sales. If you come to the cost of sales, the total sales volume is what we start with. Again, about 50% of the cost is the raw material cost over here. Then there is direct labor, fixed production, and variable production. Again, the same problem. There's no breakdown, there's no analysis. You don't know what cost is what, and how will you even control the cost, because you don't know where you can cut. Another justification for why activity-based costing could be used. So many different products, so many different lines. You need a good understanding. Total cost of sales you get by multiplying the number of the sales volume. 8,000 into 200 is the total cost per unit for SNR. Total cost of sales comes up to 1602. You add it up, you get 18,855. Simple breakdown. What we'll do again is the cost of sales breakdown. Majority of the cost of sales is coming from SKR because that's what you're going to produce more. If you're going to produce it more, the cost is going to be more. RKT at 40.5 and SNR at 8.5. It's the least sold product in this category. Now let's do a profit breakdown. Total gross profit 8865. How am I getting this? Again, the total cost of sales is 18855. The total sales revenue is 27720. So revenue minus the cost gives me the gross profit at 8865. Very straightforward. And from this 8865, the same way I'll do the revenue for SNR minus the cost of sales for SNR, which is 2880 minus 1602 divided by the total gross profit 8865 tells you that 14% of your gross profit will come from SNR. 50% will come from RKT, even though 20,000 less units you're selling almost than SKR. 50% of your gross profit is coming from RKT. It's a more profitable product. And then SKR 36%. So again, this analysis is helping us understand in each category which product is sold more and which product is more profitable. That's what we are understanding over here. This is important because when we go to the case study and when we go to, suggesting which product we should continue, which product our business can look at reducing its capacity on, you'll be able to answer if you know which product in which category is sold at what quantity and what is the gross profit. Yes, the pre-scene is available to you in the exam, but not these calculations which you see we have given you. If you've gone through the pre-scene 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, then before the exam or in the exam, if a situation arises, you can quickly open up the pre-scene that is available, go to the page because you will know the pre-scene in and out, get the number, close the pre-scene and come back to your answer writing. Otherwise, you'll be lost in that loop where you have to, keep revisiting, keep reading the pre-scene, loss of time, loss of confidence. That is not good. So to understand the pre-scene, you will have to go through it multiple times, calmly, carefully, because all of this is important information that I'm giving you. Same way, we'll do the analysis for electric grills. In the electric grills, we know that we are selling a very low quantity of them as of now, but it's the most profitable product for us. This segment is the most profitable one. We expect to sell 10,000 units and the price is significantly high. That is why maybe the sales are low, but this is the upcoming trend in this market. This is the upcoming segment of this market. If we look at sales revenue, close to 10,400 of revenue is what we expect. And over here, the WHL small, the wheel small is the category that we expect to sell more. So 20% again coming of the volume for these kind of grills is coming from, so it's a very clear analysis here. It's coming from the website because 2,000 out of 10,000 and 8,000 coming from retailers. So 80% from the retailers. We expect the WHL small to be the most sold grill. Again, it's interesting to note that there's a 25% difference between the price that we charge on our website and the price that retailers are given at. In terms of revenue, we expect about 51% of revenue to come from WHL small and the remaining from WHL large. Important will be the cost analysis. So for the cost analysis, again, a huge percentage, above 60%, your cost is the raw material cost. Out of 382 to 265 is the raw material cost. So majority of the cost is committed in the raw material, direct labor, then the variable and fixed production overhead. Again, no switch in the overhead, no bifurcation in the overhead understanding. Quite difficult for any business to cut costs further. That gives you your total cost of sales of 4258. And we can see that 54% of the total cost of sales is coming from WHL small and 46% from WHL large. Gross profits were 6412 because the sales revenue on the previous page minus the cost of sales of 4258 gives you the gross profit of 6142. 49% of your gross profit coming from WHL small, 51% coming from WHL large. It's a more profitable product, but it's sold less. The more popular one is WHL small over here. So this is an analysis of each product category that we have, and it is very important for our business to understand. Now I want you over here to pause this video, open up a Word file or a piece of paper, and note down in each category which is the products that sold most, which is the products that is most profitable. Number them down so that you can remember it in a better way. Go through the explanation again as well. That's why it's given to you as a video recorded explanation. So you can go through it again and make sense of it. Trust me, the more times you go through it, every time you'll find something new, every time you'll notice something new, every time you'll understand it in a deeper way. So go through it again. After that, interestingly, they've given us a cost card as well. And this cost card is for Firecracker Small. The cost card is prepared annually. That's what they've told us back when they gave us the costing information, which means every year the price of steel sheets is ascertained, and according to that the cost card is created and the standard cost is created, and then according to that you create your selling price. You can see the flaw in this method right now itself. Do you think the steel sheet you are going to buy for 1 year together at one go? Even if you do, let's say, then if you need something extra for an extra production, is it going to be the same price? Absolutely not. So how can you base your entire production on a cost card that is set once a year? There is bound to be variances, and hence your variances topic becomes very important. So over here they're telling me that the Firecracker Small takes steel sheet of 1.50 meter square, and the standard price turns out to be 40, and then the cost per turns out to be $60, because 1.50 meters, and then the standard price for 1 meter would be 40, so for 1.5 it's 60. Other materials is mentioned. Freight is mentioned, 2 kg, 1 kg price is 15, so 30. Bought in components 110, packaging 5.5. Total direct cost 209. Now there is direct labor also. Labor you ascertain on the basis of hours, and very clearly for labor as well, it's ascertained on the basis of hours, and then the per hour cost is mentioned, and then you multiply it by the time taken, you get your total labor cost. Next, there is a variable production overheads. Now coming to the overheads, which are absorbed on the basis of labor hours or on the basis of machine hours, the time it takes on the machine. So steel pressing and welding takes 0.50 labor hours. The cost for 1 hour they've ascertained over here is 8.68. You take 0.50 of that. Same way for enameling, but this is machine hours. We have a machine here. Assembly 0.60, packing 0.33. Now, do you think all of this is based on direct labor hours? Packing could be number of packages as well. Assembly could be number of assembled items, number of assembled hours. So hours can be one factor, but not the only factor. Another disadvantage of your absorption costing system, that everything based on direct labor hours or machine hours, which might not be true. So you get the total here. Then the fixed production overheads, again based only on the 4 cost centers. There are only 4 cost centers where all the costs are attributed, but not to activities, to centers. This is a very simple, straightforward way of costing. Yes, that's right. And our company has been growing well. Yes, because we are making profits. But to understand better, to go to the next level, to go to the next stage, better cost understanding could be needed. But this is how the total standard cost or the cost card is prepared for each product, for each line, and then you set your sales price accordingly. If I look at the breakdown of the cost, you will see that the material cost is 69%, labor cost is 10%, production overhead is 4%, fixed production overhead is 17%. The total production overheads are close to 21% of the total cost. A very, I'll say, significant percentage which you need to understand to know your company in a better way. Now they've given us a note on this standard and the budgets that have been prepared. Firstly, the standards are reviewed and updated annually. Do you think annually updating anything in today's modern world is going to suffice? I don't think so, because of the dynamic culture of today's environment. Now, why do you need to refer? First of all, why do you need to review these costs? Because cost for material will be different. The cost for labor will be different. The cost of quality, quantity will be different. This is going to differ from actual results and hence arise variances. Secondly, normal raw material losses are included in the standard cost for each product. Again, normal loss is this much, that's a loss for you, but it clearly shows that this could increase, decrease, so your material usage, material quality variances will differ. Third, all direct labor overtime premium is treated as variable production overhead. Idle time is not budgeted for. So if there is no budget for idle time variances often occur in any business because of any and very many factors. To keep those factors in mind would be important for any business. Idle time is not budgeted for, so we are assuming an ideal production system, which means no breakages, no stop down, no nothing, which is often impossible. So variance will arise and hence various study will be important. Production overheads are allocated and apportioned to production centers and absorbed on the basis of labor hours or machine hours. We've spoken about this enough. And all the cost is given to 4 cost centers: steel pressing, welding, enameling, assembly. Each production cost center has its own variable and fixed overhead absorption rates. Okay, an easy, simple, straightforward method of apportioning. Budgeted selling prices include an allowance for planned discount promotions. Okay, this brings in your sales variances topics again for your P1 syllabus. Next, we have the news analysis section. Now, there are 2 news articles which have been given to us as part of the pre-scene. We have already analyzed the article for you and put a summary of the article over here for you to go through. What I will ask you to do is just read the article from the actual original CIMA pre-scene. Just read through it, no analysis, and then come over here and read my analysis. Nothing else more will be needed from your end. So article number 1 analyzed over here. Article number 2 has been analyzed by us over here in our own words to make it simple and easy for you to understand. We don't put the entire article. What we do is we go through the article and then create a summary of that article for you to read as our students, because we want to make it easy, simple, readable, approachable for you. Now they have given us some tax information. Quite interesting. They always give this to us in the operational case study exam, because taxes is the big part of your F1 syllabus at the beginning. And there are tax related questions in your exam. No calculation, but just explanations. So the corporate income tax rate is 25%. We spoke about that earlier as well. And we know this because of the tax that we have paid on our income. Unless otherwise stated below, accounting rules on recognition and measurement are followed for tax purposes. So the following expenses are not allowable for tax purposes: depreciation, amortization, impairment charges, entertaining expenditure, donation to political parties. You can't say that I paid this much majority of my profit to a political party, or majority of my profit went in accounting depreciation, so I can't pay tax. It's not right. Tax is paid to other public bodies, also not allowable. Now, what is allowable expenditure? What is disallowable expenditure has been explained, and I also spoke about it, has been explained in your F1 syllabus. So it's quite important to go through the F1 beginning chapters just to understand what an allowable expenditure is, what a non-allowable expenditure is if you don't know it at this stage. Next, tax depreciation allowances are available on all items of property, plant and equipment at a rate of 25% per year on a reducing balance basis. A full year's allowance is available in the year that the asset is acquired. Tax depreciation allowances are not available for property assets, only on plant and equipment, including computer equipment. You should know this because in the case study, they may tell you that we are acquiring a new property, a new land. Will tax depreciation, how will tax depreciation be calculated? Straight away you tell them that in our country, Beelan, tax depreciation allowances are not available for property assets. You will only know this if you have studied and if you have gone through the F1 syllabus. As simple as that. Now coming to what is tax depreciation. Some students might not know what tax depreciation is. It's there in your F1 syllabus, but I'll make it easy for you. From the case study perspective, you just need to know that the tax depreciation is a depreciation expense claimed by a taxpayer on a tax return to compensate for the loss in value of a tangible asset. You're using the asset, right? While using the asset, you're generating income. You're paying tax on that income. Now, to give you some benefit, the government says that you can claim tax depreciation on an asset which you are using to generate income. Similar to accounting depreciation, the method is the same, but tax depreciation allocates the depreciation over multiple periods. You can't claim the whole depreciation 1 year. It is over the reducing balance method that they have mentioned over here. Now, tax depreciation and accounting depreciation are two different things, and they will be different because accounting depreciation calculated on your asset value, total asset value, and then the depreciation is done on a straight line basis generally. Asset useful for 5 years. So asset value divided by 5 is your depreciation per year. Reducing balance, on the other hand, is what tax depreciation follows, is where the value of the asset is reduced from the first year to the second year, and then the depreciation percentage is calculated. So the amount of tax depreciation, the amount of accounting depreciation will be different. Next, tax losses can be carried forward indefinitely to offset against future taxable profits from the same business. Now, what if you have a tax loss? A tax loss is a provision that allows a taxpayer to move a tax loss to future years to offset against a profit. Remember, this is a tax loss. The tax loss carry forward can be claimed by an individual or a business, anybody, to reduce any future tax payments. And a negative profit or a loss occurs when a tax expenses are greater than revenue or capital losses are greater than capital gains. Let's say the gain on capital that you made in this year is $100, but the loss that you made on other capital asset is $200. You have a capital loss of 100. Next time when you make a gain, it will be offset against it. Same way, a negative profit or a tax loss occurs when your tax expense is greater than the tax revenue. So they are telling us that in our country, the tax losses can be carried forward and offset whenever you make a future taxable profit. These are not business profits. We are speaking about tax losses and tax profits over here. Again, this is dealt with in F1. Revise the concept if the need be. Next, the sales tax is charged on all standard rated goods and services at a rate of 20%. The tax paid on inputs into a business can be netted off against outputs for a business. All businesses are required to pay over the net amount on a monthly basis. VAT, that's how it works. GST, goods and services tax. In all other in many countries, VAT. In the UK, that is how it works. You collect it from the customer. If you're buying anything from anybody else, that's where you can net it off, the remaining amount paid to the government. So very standard, there's no rocket science needed here. The sales tax is 20%. Let's know that. And keeping that in mind and saying that, we come to the end of our pre-scene analysis. A long journey of close to 2.5, 3 hours now to arrive at the end of this pre-scene analysis. Very, very important to make sure that you go through this at least 15 times before the date of the exam, if you want to remember it, if you want to replicate the important ideas that I have given you. So keep going through it, and every time you'll find something new. Make your own notes on the pre-scene, make your own understanding on the pre-scene, make it yours, make it so you understand it in a good, easy way. That's all from me. That's the end of the pre-scene analysis.